DreamHack Masters Malmö is going to continue after some brains have been truly blown. We have no idea how it's happened, but Tyloo have secured a spot in the quarterfinals. The Chinese side came out fighting, and now CLG will have to do the same versus GODSENT. North America trying to secure a spot in the quarterfinals, and GODSENT are going to be trying to stop them. It is going to be over a best of 3, and Moses has transformed into someone quite different. We've got Duncan Thorin Shields joining us now.
You've transformed as well. But I'm sorry, Alex, I actually have heard the good news about our Lord Jesus Christ, so I don't need any material. It's okay.
Hey man, I quite like this whole get-up. I mean, I had to invest.
It's a good setup. Come on, Duncan.
Yeah, it looks alright.
Give him a break.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm blushing.
He looks like a watcher out of Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something.
I actually love Buffy. Buffy was a lot of my childhood. Yeah, I had posters on my wall.
She raised you in many ways. So. Turned you into a man.
I'm not going to lie.
Something of a man.
Big fan of Buffy. Moving swiftly on, though, CLG GODSENT is going to be the game, gents, and we are going to go ahead and try and kind of get our heads around this one. I know that we already set the scene as NIP Astralis was going to be the big game of the day, but I mean, Tyloo LG's that just gone and blown that out of the water. What can we expect from CLG GODSENT, Yenke?
Well, that is the question, Alex, isn't it? I mean, the problem here is that CLG looked much better in this tournament than probably in a long time they did. They managed to have a good result at Columbus as well. It feels a bit unfortunate the way in which they lost the game against Navi, but when you compare it to GODSENT, you might get baited by their result that they lost 16-13 to Navi, but you have to remember Navi was up something like 15-7, so it was just a matter of time when they would close out that game, and G2 was extremely underwhelming in this tournament. So I feel that CLG is the favorite in this matchup. The problem is that with GODSENT as well, haven't seen them a lot against top-tier opposition, and haven't seen them in this tournament play anything besides Train, basically. So we don't know what to expect from them from some of the other maps, and I don't think Train is going to get into the pool here either.
It's the same for CLG, right? We've only seen Dust 2.
Yes. But we've seen more from them in other tournaments, so we know a bit more what to expect from them. And looking at the roster here, you can see highest rated player, Tariq. He has been stepping up lately, especially at the major and so on. And he has been missing in a sense that he is that guy who has to be there with JDM for CLG to really show up.
Have we addressed the newest edition of CLG? I feel like Fugly's kind of gone rather kind of unmentioned throughout this. It's always been, you know, Tariq has finally been delivering offline. I do like that. But I mean, what have we seen from Fugly, Duncan? Has there been anything particularly exciting about this new arrival for CLG? They have got better since he arrived.
Marginally, I think so. Yeah. Like, the thing with his addition to me is his problems that he had in Team Liquid were actually obvious. Like, he was like kind of the odd man out. He didn't quite fit into the setup they had when they were improving as a team. So I understood why they removed him. In terms of why they brought him into this team, I actually initially thought maybe they'd made a misstep, because since people like Tariq still struggled, it looked like maybe they needed a bit more firepower, a bit more star player. But now that you've got Tariq going off, and that you've got Cutler back in his comfort zone, JDM's very consistent. Actually, I think Fugly fits into kind of that supportive role more. And when I watch him play, he tends to he just anchors the site, or he just stays alive. He just does a very good supportive role within the game. So I don't think he's like a world beater or anything, but I think this is a team that suits him.
He had a great game yesterday against Navi, good in pistol rounds, had some great holds as well later on, and I feel that maybe, you know, it's always easy to look at stats or say for players, maybe even, yeah, he's a support player, so his stats are worse. But I think that he was actually the lurker when he was playing for Liquid. And here it's between him and Tariq, depending on some situations, but definitely performed better at this tournament.
And their opponents, of course. I mean, we saw they warmed up against Parla in their 1v1s. It will be, of course, GODSENT. We've got Pronax and Snyder alongside Twist, Palf, and Lekro. Some of these names more familiar than others. I'd like to kind of maybe shed some light on those names that don't ring many bells for the guys at home. I know Lekro is someone, Robin, that, I mean, even you aren't too familiar with, but what have we seen from him?
I mean, he played good yesterday versus G2, and that's pretty much, again...
That's it, right?
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy before in the Swedish scene. Probably one of the up-and-comers. Same with Palf. I mean, Palf came in from the Nations Cup team for Sweden. You probably know him more.
We have to point something out here. Look at Lekro's last name. Olofsson.
Oh!
Come on, guys.
It's there.
Easy. Sonmeister.
Lekromeister?
I'll show myself out.
To be fair,
that was a stretch.
Gotta leave that till the end of the day, mate.
I was gonna say.
But I mean, the three well-known names in that roster is Pronax, Twist, and Schneider. All very familiar names. Twist obviously haven't really been on a top top-tier team in CSGO. But you saw it. He actually did an interview with Aftonbladet, the news site, yesterday about, you know, he did get an offer from NIP, the reason why he declined, and one of the reasons was that he really wanted to play with Pronax. He's never had a chance to, and he feels like Pronax can actually really elevate his game into possibly making him a better player. One
of the criticisms that both of these teams have probably received in the past from us and everyone else is their kind of shallow map pool. CLG specifically have always been under this criticism. I know that previously we'd sit there and we'd go, well, best of threes can make, you know, EU versus NA even more difficult for them, and Vito is ready. Duncan, I'll let you kind of guide us through this one. Where on earth are we going to end up?
I mean, here's the thing, for CLG, it's hard to really scout GODSENT. Like, it's hard to really know from online games what they'll actually do on LAN. So when you think of what we've seen from GODSENT so far, so okay, we saw them on Train. That was obviously a map that they were willing to play against both opponents. That's something that CLG, that's kind of like in the middle for them. I think they wouldn't necessarily not want it. They always ban Inferno usually, as we see there, most banned maps. So, oh, that is actually the ban.
That's the ban, yeah, and they got rid of Dust 2 as well. So.
Yeah, the Dust 2 one, again, it is a strong map for CLG, but that's also because you've seen them play 2 strong games on it. So actually, for both of them, it's fairly obvious to do so. So, an Overpass pick here. The thing is, CLG actually have surprisingly been putting together a pretty decent Overpass, actually. Obviously, they got some wins on Envious earlier in the year that weren't so legit, because it was Envious' first time ever playing the map. But beyond that, they've been pretty decent on the map, actually. I think that's not a bad one. So, that's certainly going to be one that's in there. In terms of CLG going into Cash, this is a map that, yeah, it's been decent for them. Like, they had a decent showing against Liquid at the Major in the round of 8, but they had a poor CT side. That was really what cost them there. For the random map, I think, like, the dream for me would probably be something like, I think Cobblestone, maybe. That would be an interesting map.
Or Mirage.
Mirage is another one that's right in there.
Are you surprised, though, that CLG went for Cash instead of Cobble? I feel like Cobble might have been better for them.
I think that should have been the pick for them, yeah, because, I mean, that does seem like the map where I feel the most confident in them being like a reliable team, that they're going to deliver a certain performance. Cash is a little bit more up in the air. Like I said, that game against Team Liquid, sure, if you only watch the second half, you're like, oh, great executes, really good T-side. But the reason they didn't win the game is they'd given up a massive amount on their first side.
I think that Cash pick from CLG was just a show that we know your weakness, and
yeah, that's a map that GODSENT doesn't play very much.
No, they're really not good on that map. So that's one of the times where it's like, well, we can play the map. We know that you're bad on it, so why not? It's better than to take a gamble on Cobble. Yeah. You saw, for example, Tempestone vs Envy. Very shaky map in terms of make sure, well, we are the better team. Let's pick a map that suits us. That's no upsets, and let's pick Cash.
It is a bit tricky, though, on Cash. Like we mentioned it previously on the desk, that it is an open map in the NVS FaZe matchup, that even FaZe as playing with a standing and so on, they have good chances because you can do a lot with just some simple strats, individual performance and so on. And Pronax, in his time in Fnatic, Cash was one of their better maps. So, you know, in that sense, maybe it is going to be not as bad as we initially think. And I also feel that the reason why GODSENT chose Overpass instead of Train is maybe because they just played Train 2 times and feel that they don't have anything new to show, and that CLG would have probably scouted them and countered them on that map.
I'd like to go straight into predictions now, where this one is going to be going across all of them. Of course, we don't come in between maps. So, gentlemen, what are we thinking? Are we going to be giving North America some hope for the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at these maps here, I actually think because of the way each team's tried to pick like more weaker maps for the opponent, I don't think anyone's picked their strength. So it's not one of those maps where it's going to be clear cut on each map. So I actually think the maps are pretty open. So as a result, I think CLG is the better team. I'm going to take CLG 2-0.
Damn. Okay. Belief in CLG. Yanko.
I'm also going with CLG. I feel they've been performing much better in this tournament, so I'm not sure about the score, though. I'm going to go with 2-0 just because I don't think the maps influenced it that much.
Is it all going to be?
I mean, predictions have been off the, like, I don't think.
Just go with
day 2 and today as well has been complete.
Crazy.
It's been terrible. I was going to say something else, but it's been terrible. I'm going to say 2-1 to CLG. I think GODSENT was going to take a map.
All right, we're sticking to CLG. You guys have heard what we have to say, but now we're actually going to hear from the players themselves. They sat down with our camera crews earlier today, so we're going to hear from them before we throw it over to Moses and Metas for this best of 3.
The CS scene is growing so much and everyone's getting so amazingly good at this game, so it's really, really hard for the top teams to stay at the top. So it's like these new teams just clinching at the top 10, top 20 spots. It's crazy.
We've been in Sweden for probably a bit more than a week. We actually came a few days in advance to boot camp, but our boot camp didn't go as planned because some people got sick. And we did practice like a couple of days before and just make sure we just made sure that we had all our stuff down and, you know, made sure we know our smokes and all our strats and stuff like that.
We are very new and our game plan is not set. We don't really know how we should play. We have something to prove to ourselves, but we also have something to learn.
We do have a good chance of advancing, like to quarterfinals. We play GODSENT. I don't really know what to expect from them. I know they're like more of a pug, and they just like sorted this team recently.
I believe anything is possible.
I'm sure we could beat them. I'm looking forward to playing the game, and once we get to quarterfinals, from there it's like anyone's game. You know, like I don't know who will play, but quarterfinals are a different game.
We just gotta play to our 100%. If we do that, we have the capacity and we have the skill to win.
All right, so here we go, ladies and gents, into the second matchup of today, GODSENT versus CLG, the loser of which is going home.
Yeah, and that's obviously, I mean, we just saw that crazy upset, just send the major champions home. That's pretty nuts. So this is going to be a tough act for them to follow up. Obviously, neither of these teams wanting to go home. CLG especially just got the taste of playing in an arena on a stage in front of a large crowd, so probably want that back. That's a cool feeling.
Yeah, I do think that the desk has pretty much got this right, going for CLG, but I'm actually going to go for Flaren here. I think it will be 2-1. I can't see it being a clean sweep.
They do have like the factor of Pronax. It's so cool to see him finally back at a big tournament. Just that mastermind factor. You always, you know, they mentioned it is a new team, it is a new lineup. They say they don't really know how to play, but I mean the same thing happened when Pronax won his first major. When they came in with Fnatic, it was pretty much a brand new lineup. They had I think less than a week to prepare, and they ended up winning the very first major in Counter-Strike history. So he's kind of got that pedigree of being able to take 5 players and willing them into something that at least works for that time, and then they can buy themselves a window to improve on some other things. But this CLG team has had a resurgence in terms of individual play. Tarek has been nuts. JDM's got the straight lounge-in signal in his name in game. You can see that soon. And then Cutler as well. A big fan of Cutler's play. Very, very solid support player. Very good fundamentally in Counter-Strike. And he's had that, like Duncan mentioned on the desk, he's had that resurgence into new form.
Yeah, pretty much since GEC. I think he had an interview there where he said he went more to a lurker role, and a lot of the pressure was off his shoulders. He was juggling too much responsibilities, if you will, at the same time. So I think Smix also had an interview with him yesterday where he said a very similar thing. He was able to just free himself up, focus on playing, and we are seeing a revitalized Cutler as a result.
All of this kind of comes down to this team is always centered around Tarek's performance, and now that he's been consistently getting better and better, and kind of hit that level that we knew he could get to. We knew he had the skills for it, didn't know if he would actually achieve it. But now that he has it, makes everyone else's roles that much more effective. So here we are live into the pistol round. JDM, he gets brought down very low early, going on a scouting mission, but he eats a lot of damage.
Absolutely, gets dinked for his troubles, down to 16. And you can see a fairly aggressive push so far from CLG, trying to get connector control. That is going to be a consistent factor as this game goes on. It's such a key point of this map.
Speaking of key points, Fugly has the top of stairs held. He's got a clever angle out towards bathrooms, although he just looks away. The timing of that could have gone much better for him, and he gets brought down to 3. So a lot of damage dealt early here by GODSENT. They've pushed back all the aggression early on in the CT pistol.
Yeah, and those USPs are going to be able to do work at mid to long range as well, so GODSENT have to be oh so careful. They've got no more utility, no more flashes to burst on the site with, but there is Lekro. He is going to get the first and second frags, and that's going to be the bomb down as well, so it's gone horribly wrong in this blink of a couple of seconds here. And Lekro's hungry for more as well. Him and Pronax chime in for another frag. It's all on Tarek, and he can't get it done.
Yeah, that's
a glorious first round for GODSENT.
That's just a slaughter. Yeah, that was so well done from them as well. Just slowly encroaching on that A bomb site, but pushing back all the aggression, dealing massive damage and working their way up. And then once they get to a certain point, they just explode. And with the low HP, CLG, they can't take any strong positions. You know, they didn't have any, they had to stop spotting for information. They had no idea what was coming. And Lekro with some fantastic entries into that bomb site brings GODSENT their pistol round. So 1-0. Small investment into this next round. Upgraded pistols, armor on Tarek, Hazed, and Fugly. No nades to speak of whatsoever, and GODSENT taking this one very, very slow. Schneider and Twist playing very far back in the underpass and out towards playground just to watch for pushes, aggression. Pal, Lekro, and Pronax slowly going to work their way, try and gain some map control over towards the B bomb site.
JDM with just the P250 so we can get that AWP as soon as possible in his hands. Big weapon on Overpass CT side. But for now, GODSENT just holding back, waiting for CLG to try and make some plays. To them connector once again. That smoke is going to screen Schneider's approach through the squeaky door. And now water stack. So it looks like B will be the bomb site of choice, especially as they haven't fully covered connector, and I'm not sure if there will be players in there.
Yeah, that stairs position is still held, so JDM and Fugly will be able to have a quick flank once this execute eventually comes in. Some early utility used by GODSENT just to bait out, see if they can find any information. Smokes, flashes thrown. That's a clever boost, but the timing of it's not going to work out. There goes Hayes. The first kill comes. The second as well, but Tarek responds with 2 of his own. He's even things out, and he's going to go for more.
He's been a monster recently as well. It's definitely a player to watch out for. Fugly from Connector. He's making that a little bit more interesting. Tarek relocates to the sandbags. He's going to lock his 3rd kill down, but Twist is still alive. A phenomenal play, but he can't get it done, and what a bounce back from CLG. Keeping 2 AKs in their hands and pretty much down to Tarek single-handedly.
Yeah, 3 kills for Tarek. They do get the read on that play. Cutler rotated over early. He had information out towards long that there was no terrorists on that side of the map, so they get a good cheat, and then Tarek's position, he's able to take advantage and bait his teammates very, very appropriately, very strong baits. Able to get those 2 kills, slow him down, and then has fantastic position after that with an AK-47. Into this round, though, GODSENT doesn't want to give it up, doesn't want to give up that economic advantage quite yet. They do have an AK-47 on Schneider, no armor. That nade does good damage onto Pauf.
Sure does. He's been finished off as well from JDM, who gets a second. This is just money in the bank towards that AWP fund that he has set for himself. And it could get a whole lot better for CLG. Is it just mowing down GODSENT, who of course went for the force in this round, trying to break back the economy as soon as possible. And it is going to be flawless from CLG as well, so just salt in the wounds for the Swedes. CLG take the 2-1 lead.
I think that's a mistake from GODSENT. If you're going to go for that kind of buy and you have an AK-47, put it on an armored player, try and get it to open up a round, but he was actually the last one left and had no impact with the AK-47. So all those Tech 9s fall, no bomb plant as well. GODSENT's going to be stuck, no armor, just pistols out, just Glocks. And CLG, they're able to build up a lot of money. You could see 4 Molotovs, all 5 have smokes, full utility. JDM, the AWPer, he's even building up a bank to be able to buy some of these AWPs and sustain any losses that happen.
Very much a stacked approach from GODSENT. 4 players in connector. The 5th, which is Twist, was lurking with the bomb. So actually the bomb has dropped out in no man's land, which is going to hurt GODSENT. Not that there was really any hope in this round, and it's pretty much full on Glocks. So best case scenario is CLG make some massive blunders and give away a weapon or 2. But that's just not looking likely. With the bomb out in playground, Fugly's going to push it, he's going to lock it down, and it should be as clear-cut as you like from CLG now.
This is kind of a nightmare for GODSENT. They don't realize it quite yet, but unarmored walking right into the SMG of JDM. He has a chance here to build up a lot of bonus money. 1 kill, 2. That's a lot of cash getting put in his bank. He gets 3, and it's all right that he falls there because he's made so much. Hayes cleans it out, so 3 rounds straight for CLG after that 2nd round response. But now we come into the gun round. Now we're going to have AK-47s on the board for GODSENT. No AWP quite yet, but JDM obviously going to go straight for that one.
As you say as well, the fact he has the UMP, it's the lowest price weapon they had. He's fine with trading that out for the AWP anyways. What he had in his mind, only had $10,000 starting this round. So no problems whatsoever. But as you say, here comes a test now for CLG. Full AKs, a healthy dose of grenades as well. And they are the kind of team on T sides, like Overpass, where they are very explosive. They do like to play aggressively, so watch out for that in the future.
They are going to have to deal, much like the pistol round, they're going to need more of that pushback aggression, because JDM with his AWP in bathrooms over towards this A site, as they progress along that, that's where he can be very, very effective on this map. Meanwhile, they have Cutler and Fugly pushed out long. Initial shot missed by JDM, and he's going to fall away to find a new angle. No pressure put on the B bomb site quite yet. Tarek and Hayes are feeling very comfortable. A couple flashbangs rang in. Nothing too crazy, but there's a little bit too much from Fugly. Lecker's able to spot him out.
A bit surprising in this kind of situation where you must realize that GODSENT don't have a massive amount of utility at their use to just go and push out and effectively give that free frag away. Now put so much pressure on the rest of CLG. They had 2 players originally in long, and Fugly went by himself, so it's not as if they went for the avenging frag either. He just went off all by his lonesome.
That's maybe a play that they think they want to find the information. They want to see if this is going to be a heavy B play right off the bat from GODSENT, but Pronax somehow is able to get up here. 1 smoke, that can't happen. This defense, it's a mistake, and that actually provides a huge opening. Everyone from GODSENT rotating over towards the B bomb site. Cutler's not here, it's just Hayes. He's the only one who's got to hold this off. The bomb is being planted. He could stop this. If he can find it through the smoke, it's just over his head. Not going to happen. 3 on 5, and CLG might just want to call for a save here.
So unfortunate, a millimeter lower, and that would have been a kill and stopped the bomb plant. But as it stands, Cutler is going to come in, get his first frag. There is a leaning tower of GODSENT, which has been somewhat half there from JDM. 3 more players to find. Here comes Hayes with the flashbang, but the trade's back and forth. Now it's all on JDM. Just 12 HP. Looks for the no-scope, and a part of me just feels like maybe run off and keep the AWP.
Yeah, that's a low percentage play, especially just crouching out for the no-scope. Save that AWP for the next round. We know how vital it is for him to have that weapon, and now he's forcing Cutler, who, I mean, they have plenty of money built up, but he's forcing Cutler to make a big investment for him. That's just going to run the money down a little bit lower. CLG almost able to make that happen with JDM had a nice pop flash to try and clear out those short sewers, but that one frag is traded off immediately, so more aggression out of CLG. This time it's going to be JDM to open things up in Underpass with that AWP. He's got a member to support him as well. That's Fugly.
Oh, they've gone for the stack as well, so JDM could peek through onto the short tunnels, and a second frag as he looks to fade away. Beautiful play from CLG. Best possible way of bouncing back after a catalog of errors in the previous round.
Yeah, that's a 6 stack. That's a really good find early on in this round. They've crippled GODSENT at the moment. And look how far back the rest of the members of GODSENT are. They've made no progress for those 2 deaths. So really, really good stuff. Pronax and Palf are out. Twist with that AWP. They've got to give him time to try and find some kind of a pick, but he's in no position to see anyone quite yet. He's not even really made his way towards Fountain, towards Party or Playground. Now finally he's going to go out towards Long for what looks like it's going to be a split towards the Say site.
Just hoping for the best here, hoping that Twist can get an opening pick. That really is their only way to get back into this round. CLG still have plenty of utility at their disposal. They can just lock off Long. 45 seconds up on the timer as well, so GODSENT have to get a move on here. And if this opening pick isn't forthcoming in the next 10 seconds, you feel like it just slips away from them.
Oh, this could be a good find. Hazed is going to fall, but like you said, still utility on the CLG side. There's 2 Molotovs for Fugly and Cutler to use on this execute.
Well, that opening pick is going to do wonders for GODSENT, and JDM goes looking. He gets punished as well. Fugly using the angle to his... Oh my goodness, what just happened there from Cutler?
Fugly does the damage, and that Molotov just cleans him out with this much time left. Yeah, with this much time left on the clock, he had to try and force his way through that Molotov, so that's no good. Electro gets 1 kill. He's traded off immediately by Tarek, but you can see that's a little bit scary for CLG. I'm not sure that late in the round, playing very aggressively in front of the bomb site, very exposed. They could have just, you know, sat back a little bit more, turtled up a little bit more effectively, not taking those losses. Either way, though, it does also reset the economy of GODSENT. Now, they're going to force into this round, so they're bought up completely with what they can. 3 Tech 9s, P250, armor, and utility as well.
There are a handful of CLG players as well that their economy is pretty much circling the drain. $500 in JDM, 1,000 on another 3 of them. Maybe that's factoring into GODSENT's decision here as well. They realize that maybe if they can just claim the scalps of CLG here in round 7, things could flow back in their favor. But they have definitely struggled since CLG have these rifles in their hands.
This round is all about, GODSENT has to get at least 2 to 3 kills here. They have to be able to at least keep the economy low, because losing this, they're going to be forced onto a more direct save in terms of what they can buy. But they have to be able to keep the economy low of CLG. They can't let it build up too far.
That's exactly it. You have to keep yourself in touching distance on a map like Overpass. It really can run away from you. Here comes the set play onto the site. Flashes, molly, smokes, everything thrown in. Tarek's holding the angle on the pillar, and he is getting rewarded for his bravery. 3 kills come in. JDM is looking to stop the bomb plant. He can't do it just yet. As Twist is there with the Tech 9 to make sure his buddy stays alive. M4 now in the hands of Twist. They pretty much have got what they set out for, though. It's a couple kills and the bomb plant. Let's see if Twist can do anything else from this position. Every weapon that's taken away is economy being flushed down the drain from GODSENT. The bomb is being diffused, however, and it will get fully diffused from CLG. Twist is going to pick up another couple kills, though, and that's really going to hurt CLG coming through into this next round.
Yeah, that's a nightmare situation. That's a very good round from GODSENT despite losing it. They're going to buy up into this one with that plant. An AK-47 on Twist, the M4 on Schneider, 3 Tech 9s. But JDM, they only got 1 flashbang behind this AWP. That's a lot of money taken out of the CLG house. Big error on their play, letting Twist be that effective in that situation.
Almost an economic game of chicken now between the 2 teams. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to swerve first? Because pretty much no money on the server right now, other than the weapons. So GODSENT going for that force again, as you mentioned before, Moses.
Smart force. I mean, they have to do this. This is a big round. If GODSENT's able to win this and reset the economy of CLG, then they have a couple easier rounds that they can catch up in the scoreline. It might even out the score completely at 5-5. Because CLG would have to save in the next one. It might be a double save with where their money's at.
And you can see whereas in previous rounds, CLG had a lot of utility at this kind of point. They still have plenty of flashbangs, but only 1 smoke and 1 incendiary. So if GODSENT play their hand right here, they definitely could get onto the site up close and personal with those Tech 9s. We saw what they're capable of doing in the last round from Twist. So CLG do need to be also careful here. Again, playing aggressively in Bathroom is Fugly. And he has his partner in crime of Cutler, who's just behind him watching Long itself.
GODSENT's seen some early aggression out of CLG, and they've taken heavy losses from it at one point, but they know they've encountered it a lot in these first 7 rounds of this match. They're being very slow and very methodical and watching common places, clearing out these sewers. Now they're lining up for a B hit. No one's been able to rotate or cheat or rotate over from the A site, so it's just Tarek and Hayes, and they're going to play it passively in the water pit.
Yeah, B site is so deadly with the Tech 9s, as we saw in the last round, and Hayes needs to just back away. Tarek is going to do the damage. Last time he's around the pillar, this time much more defensively. Hayes and JDM now chiming in. Lekro finally gets his kill down, but he's going to fall instantly afterwards, as will Schneider. Good hold from CLG, only losing the one weapon.
Yeah, so smart, that defensive play from CLG, not overextending, just playing it passively, having a couple angles and just making sure they can get those first 2 kills. It buys the time for the rotation to come in, because it was a stack. It was very dedicated towards long A. There were 2 members there. JDM wasn't even in the bomb site, so it was a relatively long rotation between that A and B site. Either way, CLG wins that all-important round, so now they can just extend this lead. This time, GODSENT, they can't invest in the armor. They only have 1 flashbang on Palf. They're going to have to rely on Lekro's Deagle to find some kind of pick, but it's more aggression towards Bathroom from CLG, and this could be tough for them to deal with without the utility.
So that last round really was high risk, high reward for GODSENT. You win that, you can draw yourself right back towards the 5-5. You lose, and then you're looking at a higher deficit coming in, which is exactly where they are right now. They do have a Deagle in the hands of Lekro. We know that one-tap potential is something you have to really respect in Counter-Strike. It's actually Twist with the drive by P250 that will claim first kill in this round, break the deadlock. Pop flashes out onto Long, trying to buy Fugly up a little bit of time, who's very low, and Powerful take him out while fully flashbang. This is looking great for GODSENT all of a sudden.
Yeah, CLG has just collapsed. That cannot happen. Just pistols take out JDM with the up, and Fugly, and there it is, raining in. Twist is able to salvage it, put it to good use. GODSENT on the verge of winning a miracle round here with just the P250s. Only 1 flashbang coming into it. The Deagle hasn't even chimed in yet. So Cutler and Tarek now have a decision to make. Spotting out this B bomb site from far back, but they have a huge hole to climb out of.
A big blunder from CLG, although to be fair, GODSENT landed some crazy shots there with the pistols. It's just maybe not their round. That being said, CLG still in prime position to hold this off, and it's the man in form right now, Tarek, who is holding it from Toxic. Problem is he's only got 10 bullets left because of the A1S, but he's going to make every single bullet count. Switches to the USP, finally goes down. Has he done enough, though, for Cutler to move himself in and stop this bomb plant? They line up for him. He's going to try and transfer the spray, and he just about gets it, but for a second there, you felt for the worst for Cutler.
That looked a little scary. Good transfer, though, on the spray, and what a smart play. Just lurks in, bides his time. But the real hero is Tarek, holding off that initial push. These are some really, really nice shots. We've talked about the incredible form that Tarek's been in lately. And here's Cutler, kind of making your heart stop just a little bit, but he does get that second kill onto Twist. Goes for the AWPer, not the planner initially, because he knows can easily, it's so difficult to get off that bomb in that situation and try and be effective.
Some pretty slick positions as well from CLG, because Tarek died on the Toxic, so you could see the 2 players were actually looking towards short, they were looking towards lower. They didn't expect both players to be around the same position, so it completely caught them off guard.
That's just the factor of very, very quick rotations between the bomb site, and Cutler makes a good play. They know, essentially, they kind of have to gamble on a quicker rotate. He can't just stick around. Tarek buys enough time as well, and there's JDM. The AWP rings out, Lekro falls, even partially blind, he hits that shot. The bomb is out towards Long as well. And it's going to be Pronax is going to be the next one to test, and he's spotted out Hayes, and he does the damage right through the wall. Gets the headshot. So they even things out at 4-4. But still, this defense hasn't spread out quite yet. Fugly considered rotating, but hasn't done it. It's just Tarek. They're trusting him alone at that B site.
And he pretty much is the man you'd want in this position if you're on CLG right now. After those 3 ridiculous kills in the last round that kept them afloat, he's there again to answer in, this time with the A4. Fugly peeks round, picks up Twist, and 2 GODSENT members remain. Make that just the 1. It's all on Schneider. Pauf picked off. Pixel perfect aim from JDM for the 2nd time in this round. And will Schneider return the favor? It's a rough ask, though, with 30 seconds to play with. He does have a smoke and a molly, though. Well, looks like he's going to decide to go B instead, which is where JDM, pardon me, Tarek is waiting with the A4. Spots him. So that's vital information for CLG.
More importantly, spots him, takes a couple shots, and just falls away and survives.
Yep.
Forcing Schneider to commit if he wants to actually go for the round, and he would already called a teammate over for the rotate, so Fugly would have been there in time. The mid-round aggression from CLG, such a nice call. GODSENT spreading out across the map in all these rounds, essentially running a default, slowly clearing out spots. They're going to get a little bit spread up naturally just by the nature of that kind of a tactic. And CLG is able to push forward and find a gap in it and be really, really effective. Good trades in bathrooms early on, and GODSENT's strategy just got blown to hell after that.
That's exactly it. We did see JDM with 2 big kills as well, opening up the round off Flowerbed. and then falling back in towards bathroom and picking off Palf, who was having a quick sneak across. So big kills. CLG suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, extended a 6-round lead.
Yeah, it looked so tenuous at a certain point, and now it's just firmly in the favor of CLG. GODSENT trying to pick up the pace over towards the B site. Tarek hasn't taken any damage. That nade could do a lot.
Wow, what?
Yeah, they
damage.
They somehow get by it. Fugly grabs the first kill, though.
Just CS nade things. Fugly is there, though. There's Tarek as well from short, and it's looking like this crossfire is on point. Grenades also landing in the face of Lekro, and it's on Schneider for the second consecutive time, looking at a potential clutch scenario. It does have more time to play with this time, but a 1v4.
Yeah, and CLG has now forced a pause, a timeout out of GODSENT. You can see it there on the screen. That was a really nice defense. CLG, the players in the B bomb site, so CLG had 2 members push up, and actually when that fast play towards the B bomb site comes out, instead of going towards fountains or that stairwell, they actually come down the stairs and go over towards short sewers. So the defenders in B actually pinch into that one aspect of the B split. They're able to eliminate that side of the attack and then group up to eliminate the other one. It's a very, very efficient use of your personnel.
Schneider has at least taken 1 player with him. Can he double that? He's going to be close proximity with Cutler. There's the second. Okay, there's still time to play with as well, but he's going to be charging through the smoke. And more importantly, the bomb is out just outside of Monster, and that pretty much is going to put the red light on this round, or is it? If he can land this shot onto short, it was open again, but Tarek is there. And CLG again, hold on.
Tarek has been a monster in these first 11 rounds.
Really has, yeah.
I mean, we talked about how big he has been to this team's success recently. He's 15-4 right now, and he's saved a couple big rounds for him here in these matches. You think back to that save round where at the B bomb site, he kills 3, allows Cutler to get that 1-on-2. This is a big performance out of CLG so far.
And again, similar to what we were saying yesterday as well, the dynamic of this entire half could have changed had Tarek not have landed those big kills. We could be looking at a much closer scoreline right now.
Right,
as it stands, I mean, this could get into a horror show for GODSENT from this point.
This is where you got to hope Pronax has something that he can call out. I'd like to see them pick up the pace a little bit more. The issue with that, the toughest part, because they still have the economy of CLG relatively low. No one's really skyrocketing in money. In fact, there's no one over $3,000 on CLG. In fact, Tarek's all the way down at 200, so they still have him in a pretty decent economic position to be able to catch up. But they're running out of time to do it. They have to make that happen quick. There's only 4 rounds left. They essentially have to win at least 3 of these next 4 rounds if they want a chance. They need to get up towards 5 on this terror side. The tough part about them now is these slow tactics haven't worked. These slow, spread out, methodical ones, they've been getting picked apart. So you want to pick up the pace, but because there's so money in the CLG bank, they have all these Molotovs. You saw it at the B site. That time they tried to go fast-paced towards Monster, but it's blocked off. So it's going to be tough for them to figure out what they can do. And this ult from JDM, no one's been able to contest that whatsoever.
And it's slightly confusing to me as well, because watching GODSENT, previously known, of course, as Ancient, on maps like Overpass on T-side, they were a very explosive, very fast, in-your-face sort of team. So it is surprising to me that, as you said, it has been very slow, kind of plodding along, hoping for the opening picks. I feel like maybe this match pause coming in right now, the tactical timeout, maybe them saying, okay, do we want to speed things up? Do we want to try and have more connector control? Do we want to try and maybe play a couple more fakes? Because we haven't really seen that many fakes from them either.
Well, yeah, and the fakes haven't, even if you want to do a fake, you're losing the initial battles. JDM's getting a pick out towards A. I mean, there's been massive success for CLG when they get aggressive towards bathrooms. Tarek's been a monster at that B bomb site. That's essentially been closed. So you can see here, you're going to see when we get back into the game on the screen, GODSENT has the full losing bonus built up in their favor, so they do go for a partial buy in the sense that they get the Tech 9s, they upgrade the pistols, utility, they have some armor as well. Palf's the only one to save, so maybe they want him to be able to drop or pick up an AWP into the next round. And JDM, he's going to get aggressive on stairs. He misses one, he's just a little bit late, but no danger from it. Fugly's there to flash so he can fall back safely. Just good teamwork, and meanwhile, 3 members from GODSENT coming up the stairs to take over bathroom control.
Yeah, much more fast in-your-face approach now from GODSENT. The issue is, though, it's only Tech 9s and a P250 against full-on weaponry. So it's unlikely to pay out for them. Here comes JDM. He is going to get 2 frags, looking for a third as well. Can't land the no-scope, it ends his life, but the rest of his team is there to pick up the pieces. No issues for them. This is the round, really, that GODSENT called that timeout for. This is where we need to see something different, something new.
Right, but now because they only get that 1 kill in the last round, there's no danger of CLG being reset here at the end of this map. So no easy rounds for GODSENT. They have to essentially win these last 3. They need to buy themselves a window of opportunities, at least buy themselves a mistake to make in the second half.
Hello, SG. How you doing?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We've been seeing, these have been about more and more once in a while. I mean, we only see one every every few games.
This is the tactical timeout. It's like, boys, I'm going for the SG. Let's do this.
I got it. Let's pull out the secret weapon.
Let's see if Pronax can get anything done. He's actually going to be watching the flank all by his lonesome.
That's a nice Molotov. That's a very nice Molotov to force JDM back.
Yep. And he has been playing that angle quite often as well. He's been getting a lot of control over mid towards the fountain, which has pretty much given up GODSENT.
What they have now, Twist in bathroom, he can actually wrap around towards long, and he can work with his teammates to pinch onto the stack from CLG. Fugly and Cutler are very, very exposed because JDM can't cover them from this far back, but instead of doing that, instead of clearing out long, Twist is just going to fall away. And Lekro's going to be the one to challenge. Knife out, just trying to spot for it. He does see one behind tree and rock, so now he knows there's two members there. Not going to take that fight. The defense has been forced back. First round in a while that we've seen GODSENT able to push CLG away from bathrooms and survive with all 5 members.
That's exactly it. And this is where you're looking for Pronax to make some big calls, to make some big plays for his team. Because they have managed to force CLG back, who've been playing very aggressive defense on CT side of Overpass. But since getting that information, really, Moses, they haven't done a great deal. They're just stacking up outside a short, outside a monster, 30 seconds to go. And they're going to have to go all in here and hope on entry frags.
Yeah, it might not work out too well. Tarek's going to be close up, might be able to catch one off. There's nades in his hands, and he gets 2. Beautiful transfer. Molotovs come out from the defense as well to stall this out. Hayes does get dropped, though.
So intelligent there from Tarek, and he's still alive as well. As he said, it's just Hayes that's fallen down. Okay, now Tarek has gone. Maybe GODSENT can draw this back to a 10-5 scoreline. That's a lot more doable. Here comes Cutler, though, from the A site. He's going to be moving in, heavily tags up on Lekro. Can't get the spray down on towards Pronax, and it will be a 3rd round for GODSENT. But I've got to say, Tarek's peek there was absolutely perfect. He must have known they're about to set up for the B play, just caught both of them with their pants down.
Yeah, it was very, very nice, but still, GODSENT's able to sustain after that. You can see all the utility right before those kills come out, all the utility that was being used. GODSENT actually forces back the pressure over towards A without using too many of their nades. They actually had 3 or 4 members with a full nade kit that they could throw the smokes. They just wanted one big execute on that B bomb site, and it worked perfectly for them. They get that round, but now they've got to string them together.
That's the key thing, isn't it? Because they've been able to do that so far. No back-to-back rounds. They got the first round, which is even more terrifying when you consider it's 10-3. They won the pistol and still find themselves this far behind in the matchup. But for Mass on Hayes, not a huge amount of utility on Cutler, Tarek, or JDM. Speaking of JDM, again, he's holding his short side, just outside of bathrooms. Gets forced out from the flashbang, can't connect the shot, goes back in for seconds, and Lekro is there to lance. That's a huge kill right off the bat from GODSENT. Maybe this is their chance to get another round on the board.
Yeah, now they've got Fugly in an awkward spot. JDM couldn't get away quick enough. He stuck around for too many fights. Now Fugly is in a position where he has to fight his way out. Although with that smoke towards bathroom, with a couple of the flashbangs that rain out, GODSENT's pushed back initially from punishing that. Actually looks like Schneider wants to push through the smoke, try and get a little creative, and he does. He finds it. There was a footstep made. They know he's here. He brings Fugly very low, but loses his life in the process. Meanwhile, GODSENT has rotated back towards the B bomb site. Tarek's going to have to hold off again. He's got to do some kind of a hero play. Gets the first one. That's the bomb down.
What's fantastic is how many different angles he's covering from as well. Most he's constantly catching them unawares. Lekro is there, though, to answer back. So it looks as though GODSENT will at least get on the site. Maybe I spoke too soon. The bomb is getting planted, however. But Lekro is very low. Fortunately for him, Northern CLG has a grenade in their back pocket to just toss over there. Finally gets the bomb planted. Was worried at first about the potential push-up from the water, so he threw the Molotov in. And he now falls down. It's all on Twist. And he's going to get picked off from Tarek. Nothing he can really do there. 3 separate directions to watch out for. But Tarek, he gets the first kill to stop the initial charge and the last one. He managed to survive that entire time without losing a single point.
Yeah, if he falls too early there, if he falls during that execution, that means GODSENT can take control of that water pit that's directly behind the bomb site, which is crucial to holding off retakes. That position is so hard to clear out late in the round, especially as you mentioned, CLG was pretty much out of utility, out of flashbangs and smokes and nades. So Tarek just surviving inside right behind the bomb site, that's a huge position to hold for him. So a very smart play, very good fundamentally, to make sure that your team can utilize that for the retake. It really gives them some kind of leverage when they want to retake that site.
Yeah, not falling into the trap of being predictable here so far, Tarek. GODSENT, pretty poor bite on the last round of the half. But this is to somewhat salvage. 11-4 would be a huge task to ask for, but it's not impossible to come back from that kind of scoreline. But of course, getting that 4th round is going to be a lot easier said than done. 3 Tech-9s in play. Molotovs, 4 of them in actual fact. They're going to have a lot of fire raining down onto whichever site they so choose. And we have seen the last couple of rounds that they'll send a couple players off and try and fake, and then they'll quickly wrap themselves back towards the B side. I'm curious if they're going to go for that one again here.
This is much more passive from CLG in this round than we've seen. Tarek's the only one being aggressive through Monster. He's going to find that battle. Of course he's going to win it. Almost feels like he can do no wrong in this half. 20-5 for him. That is sick stuff. Fugly's going to be the next one under pressure. He's blind. There's a pop flash that slows Palf down, and there it is. JDM covering perfectly with the AWP, and Fugly chimes in for one more. He does eventually get dropped, but then there's Cutler, keeping up the pressure towards the attack, and it's all down to Lekro.
Good luck to you, sir. They know exactly where he is. However, JDM does go peeking, and that seems like a bit of an odd decision, especially considering that Tarek was coming up from behind. I feel like maybe just playing passive there and waiting for the lurker to strike would have been the guaranteed round. Now, as it stands with Tarek so low, if Lekro can pick off Hayes, then this is doable. This is well and truly back on. And he lands the shot partially through the truck, however, but there is the Molotov. This is not going to quite land on top of Hayes, and he's able to scurry away to the back of the site. 20 seconds left. Tarek's now starting to get a move onto the site. As Lekro, looking at Bank, gets completely caught off guard.
Yeah, that movement by Hayes completely outplays him. Lekro's running out of time. He's got to hurry up and find that kill. Knows the flank is more than likely coming in because he didn't see the second player on the A-bomb site. But a sick first half from CLG, a dominant one, 12-3. There were a couple times early on, this could have been a completely different half. GODSENT had the money of CLG low. They could just never fully break that economy.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments as well for GODSENT, which is worrying for me when you consider that we're going through into cash next. There's a lot of utility thrown and expended without any follow-up. It seemed kind of like pointless utilities, just throwing it for the sake of it. We saw there in the last round, there was a pop flash that landed just outside of bathroom, and no one charged in afterwards. When you have 3 Tech 9s, like, that's when you need to be exploding onto the site to try and claim those first kills.
Well, towards the end of that half, it seemed like they had just been so conditioned by CLG not to have those kind of aggressive plays. They'd been punished so often that they just didn't want to make that kind of a stance. So I mean, really good stuff from CLG. You got to remember, this is actually a 3-round half from GODSENT where they win pistol.
Yeah.
And then lose second round. But winning pistol, only getting 3 in the entire half, that's a little bit scary for them moving forward.
It is a CT-sided map, but 12-3, I wouldn't go that far.
It's also the fashion in which we got to 12-3, because
yeah, exactly.
JDM and Tarek, it didn't seem like there's any response from any of the GODSENT players. It doesn't look like anyone on the server can match those two from CLG at the moment. Lekro and Twist are the 2 highest for GODSENT. They're at 14 and 13 kills, and there's an opening pick from JDM and Cutler. Schneider gets immediately dropped, and Twist is even spotted out now.
But it pretty much just is pistol round or doom for GODSENT here on Overpass. And even if they do win the pistol, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, to be completely honest. Palf, though, does answer back, though, with the B2001 tap, and there's Pronax with 2. Very nicely done, shifting this round back in their favor. Are they going to end up pushing and dying? JDM is there with the Tech 9 raid boss, 84 HP left, but his teammate of Cutler is very low. 1 bullet and he's a goner. Looks like they will be backing off towards the B side.
No finesse in that pistol round from CLG, just essentially a rush up highway. And it was spotted out very early by GODSENT, and they knew it was coming, and CLG, you know, had an idea that they knew. They didn't slow down at all. They had no utility for that bomb site. I think Cutler bought some nades earlier on, but they were used, and apparently not effectively, because they just get shut down. Some very nice shots from Pronax and Palf. This is going to be a tough sell, although Palf has rotated away from the A bomb site. Actually, no, he just goes right up the stairs, a different angle, and there's a nice shot from Pronax again. His 3rd in the round, and now it's all down to Cutler, and he doesn't have very much HP, so this can't be a win based off this crossfire setup. So GODSENT win both pistol rounds. They get that all-important one in the second half.
That's why I kind of called at the time. I thought they're going to back off towards B, because I feel like the Tech 9 at close quarters there can really wreck the USP, whereas at longer range, Pronax can just hold the angle and just tap across. And he knows if he lands any shots, they're pretty much just going to, you know, be headshots, instant kills. So CLG going for broke. Didn't quite pay off for them in that round. Here comes the force.
Yeah, but pretty standard out of CLG. JDM's not going to invest anything whatsoever. Very well documented the fact that he needs to have the AWP to be an effective player. It's one of his biggest weaknesses, but they haven't had to worry about it in this map simply because their money was set. Throughout that first, he was always able to have that weapon. Nade comes out, does a little bit of damage. Aggressive stance from GODSENT. They do have 1 player on those stairs. That's going to be Schneider. He's working with Twist at the moment.
2 MP9s as well, going to be tag teaming in Connector. Almost the perfect position to use this weapon in. Both holding the separate angles, so it's going to be a rough ask for CLG. They do have 2 flashbangs, though. And if one is perfectly placed, and it's all over, but look where that bomb's dropped right next to the feet of both the aforementioned MP9s, and they are ripping through CLG. Now comes in the M4 from Pronax. Both MP9s are pretty low, though, so maybe CLG can get something out of this round. But it's looking more and more likely like this is going to slip away towards the Swedes.
Yeah, good stack there from GODSENT. CLG tries to pinch it. One player coming from top of stairs, one player coming from underpass, but it's handled very, very well. They only lose the SMGs. They still have the 2 M4s. And all that time, GODSENT, they were playing a retake on the B bomb site. They knew there was a lot of pressure. They felt a presence over towards the A site. They never felt the need to rotate anyone back towards B. So a good round. GODSENT holds strong, and now they have this by 4 rifles. They also have 3 Molotovs to utilize, so any kind of fast tactic from CLG can get shut down. But it's aggressive again from GODSENT. 3 members pushing up. Pronax is going to go down the stairs, but Schneider and Twist are going to peer up towards Fountain.
That's one of the reasons I love Overpass. It's such aggression from both teams, and this time it's going to be GODSENT. Let's see if it pays off for them, though. Schneider lands the first shot of predominantly just a Glock. Arsenal here for CLG doesn't look too fantastic for them, especially at the longer ranges and long. And there is Twist and Pronax putting them 6 foot under, and that pretty much is going to be GODSENT picking up their 6th round.
Yeah, it's pretty much all done and dusted. So what we're going to have in the next round is we're going to have to see how JDM is going to utilize this AWP. Cutler does get one at the end. But again, and more importantly, GODSENT keeps all 4 rifles into the next round, so no big losses for them on the defense. JDM's got armor and a smoke behind this AWP. Good amount of utility on CLG. It's not the strongest buy. They have a Molotov onto Cutler. I expect them to try and take over Underpass first. They're going to want to gain control of that stairwell. All the meanwhile, JDM more than likely watching for a push over towards stairwell, over towards party. With that AWP trying to get an opening pick just by aggression. It's actually only going to be Fugly and Underpass, and he's playing it very passively at the moment.
He sure is. Both AWPers didn't have fantastic spawns, so more of a passive play, although Schneider currently is going to be using his on long. Just outside a bathroom as well, so we can quickly dart in if players start to push his location. Meanwhile, JDM is peering up long, so early on, very aggressive play from GODSENT. They had a player in Connect who just backed away, and it's going to be the first kill going the way of CLG. And it's on Pronax as well, so you can see the dominoes start to fall from GODSENT. You have to be so careful now. Playing aggressive in this position, if Twist dies, that's pretty much A, ripe for the taking.
That's a sick shot from Hayes as well. Pronax isn't trying to duel that fight. He doesn't want to commit to it. He's just trying to get some information and spot it out. But a swift shot, utilizing that smoke, and now Twist, he doesn't get away in time. That one smoke from CLG allows Hayes to make that kind of an aggressive stance since he can't be punished from that angle. And then Twist just sticks around too long, and when it fades, he falls. So a 5-on-3 with 45 seconds left on the clock. CLG could slowly constrict on either bomb site.
Yeah, Lekro's going to have to channel his inner Tarek here, you have to feel, being the lone survivor on B. And that's a result of losing those 2 players on A. Instantly, Schneider, who was around Bank, actually had to just go on to A site itself and leave him by himself.
This is such a sick read from GODSENT, though. 3 members here. It's not going to matter. Hayes gets that pick on Lekro. It's all down to 2. Tarek's even going to be on the flank, but he's got to pick this up. If Palf and Schneider, the clock is low. If they can mount a defense, that's a good start. They can slow this down, too, for Schneider.
Surely not. Surely CLG are not going to let this slip. A 3rd kill comes in. 8 seconds left, and it's a 2-on-2. CLG have to go for broke right now. Tarek from behind, 1 frag. He can't get the second with 3 seconds to go. What a fantastic hold from GODSENT.
A 2-on-5. CLG does everything right until that execution, and the op rains out. Used a lot of utility to clear out bathrooms. You can see they don't have any smokes left. JDM just picks one up there at the end, but with the AWP, he's trying to hold that angle, trying to force Schneider away from a repeat, but a good defensive stand. Now back onto the save for CLG, and GODSENT inches closer. They're going to have an easier round here in which they can get up towards 8.
How brutal is that for CLG, though? That should have been their round. They had the first 2 picks, pushing on to B, and Schneider's AWP, standing tall.
That was such a sick read. I mean, those are the kind of calls that you say, Pronax. If that was his call, we obviously don't know who made it, but you got to imagine the guy who's known as one of the masterminds of Counter-Strike just says, all right, fall back towards B, just gamble in a 3-on-5. Let's just hope they pick the B bomb site, and it works out for him. Schneider continuing his reign of terror, building up some money. They did lose the op in the last round, so he doesn't have it currently, but there's good use from Pronax and Twist of those M4s through the smoke, all down to Cutler, sustaining no deaths in this round as GODSENT building up a bank.
I feel like it was a solid call as well to stack B, because predominantly that's where CLG have been going.
Well, the concept is that if CLG is getting the 2 to 3 kills over in bathrooms towards that A bomb site, the defense is going to have to rotate towards A to cover that. So the B defense gets weakened. So that's generally where the offense is saying, all right, let's hit that bomb site because we know they've at least taken 1 to 2 players off of it. At max, we'll only encounter 1, but they encountered 3. especially had to have been shocking for Schneider once they got that first kill. Hayes got a second kill. I believe that was on a, I forget who it was, but he did get a first kill entering into that B site. Tarek through the smoke, being very aggressive.
So yeah, almost the reverse psychology mind games coming in for Pronax and GODSENT. But as you mentioned before, with this AWP in JDM's hands and a pretty aggressive push from CLG, you're fearing the worst from GODSENT, who were in positions out in the open where they could have got picked off. Pronax is down at 26, but he will be able to pull himself back to the site, live to fight another day. Palf goes looking. Now it's going to be the frag, but at least they get the avenging kill straight afterwards from Lekro, so it could have gone a whole lot worse for GODSENT.
It's a lot of intel, though. Palf pushing all the way up and seeing only Cutler here. So that means that Lekro can stay alone at B, and there's no real punish that CLG has for a couple more seconds. Twist going to get re-aggressive towards Highway. There's a nice boost. Tarek finds one. Are they going to be ready for this counter push? Twist actually slows it down, but he's got an advanced position.
He does, maybe a bit too worried in case he starts to charge through there, and there's 3 players and he just gets picked off instantly from the bait. Nice frag from Schneider, though, and Twist is still here. Are they going to expect the double peek? Maybe not, and if they don't check Twist, he is going to be in the money. There's the first kill. He's going to start to get pushed. Double frag for Twist. He's looking for another one. Looks for the spray. Can't get it done onto Tarek, but did do significant damage. 81 HP. Disintegrates from Tarek. And he does have the bomb. It's a slight saving grace, but with only 20 seconds and a 2 versus 1, it's going to take a Herculean effort again from him.
Yeah, especially with the clock running down. It's almost like a 1 versus 3 in this scenario. 10 seconds left on the clock. It does look like they're at least going to let him get the plant down just to be safe. I mean, they don't really care about the plant at this point. They just don't want to lose. Although he's going to run through the smoke. He takes a lot of damage. The flank comes in for Lekro. He does find it. That's huge because Schneider was brought very, very low. If Tarek was able to find him and turn that into a 1-on-1, it would have been huge. But now it's CLG feeling the pressure because they've called the timeout. We've seen defenses reign supreme so far in Overpass.
Yeah, well, that is going to be 5 rounds in a row now to GODSENT.
This play here from Twist and Schneider to get re-aggressive in Highway once they lose numbers there, it's very, very Fnatic-esque. That's one of the things that they were, especially on this map, you saw them do a lot. If they lost a player over towards Bathroom, their response was just to get re-aggressive towards that zone and try and get the trade kill, try and just mount even more of a defense there. So GODSENT makes it work nicely. Now they've got a double up set up as well. Twist has one, so does Schneider.
Correction, 6 rounds in a row, so a little bit worse than I originally anticipated, but CLG are going to have a solid buy. Whereas the last time when GODSENT called the timeout, it was when they had pistols, so it was kind of more towards the future. This time it is straight up from CLG. They're like, how can we possibly PS through this defense? How can we finally get ourselves on the scoreboard? Because they have had quite a few opportunities to do that, Moses. They've just been unable to convert it.
Yeah, that one round, that 1 5-on-2 is going to haunt them if they're not able to finish this match out. This is a very, very good defense. And that's actually, I mean, there's not been a lot of success for CLG outside of that round. There's only been 1 plant in this matchup. It was just now, defused by GODSENT, obviously. But they haven't been able to find too much success on these bomb sites. It was 3 rounds ago. It was round 19 that they brought it into a 1-on-1. That was Tarek on that flank as the clock ran out, almost able to grab that, almost able to steal that round away from GODSENT. But I mean, ever since then, there's money been built back up on the GODSENT side. Schneider has 6,300, Lekro has 4,600, Twist as well as over 4,000. So they have the ability to buy through some losses here. It's not like the GODSENT half where they had, you know, CLG at the breaking point a couple times throughout their half. CLG's got to get something going here.
Another worrying sign as well, as we were saying before, how Tarek and JDM had 36 frags between the two of them after half-time. Tarek's only got 4 in the first 6 rounds. JDM's only got 2 more kills in the first 6 rounds. These are serious statistics when you consider those are the 2-star players you're expecting to step up and really carry you through these T-halves. So that's a bit worrying for me. JDM has had AWPs as well. It's not a case that the economy's constantly been in flux. He has had a few AWPs and he's been able to really do anything with them.
That's a really good point, and it's kind of about his AWPing style on the T sides especially. He's not going to be that AWPer who's going to consistently get you those opening kills. He likes to hold the angles. He used to be a little bit more peaky, but he's actually kind of reined that in to be a little bit more consistent with his style. So he's not going to be the one that's going to find CLG too many openings, but once they execute, if they do find that and they get into a bomb site, he's very, very effective in post-plant situations, very effective at holding angles for his teammates to clear out spots. They just haven't had too many opportunities to get him into that position.
Well, here we go. We are live once again. CLG hot off their tactical timeout. Let's see if they can convert this. If it was just a momentum shift, if they're trying to get GODSENT off their game. Double AWP, as you mentioned before. Both of which in pretty solid positions right off the bat, and CLG playing very passive once more. GODSENT Again, aggressive towards Connector. Pronax is in there by his lonesome. Palf's also managed to push out onto water. So these are pretty forward positions from GODSENT and more information that's going their way.
Yeah, Pronax is very, very susceptible. It's a very dangerous play as he falls out of the stairwell. Either way, no damage taken from either team at the moment. CLG playing this very slow, very much more spread out, and now Palf has, this is such a strong position for him to be in. It's so powerful. This is a very difficult to clear out if you come out of door. Cutler's going to have to help them out. But you can see the defense. There's a lot of movement in this right now. They also don't have much information. CLG hasn't given anything up quite yet. They still have all 5 smokes. Tarek's gained control of bathrooms. He might have a duel later on, but it's going to be against Schneider with the AWP, and there it is. Palf finds Fugly. Tries to retreat. JDM does punish that. There it is, holding the angle. Very nice shot from JDM.
Yeah, it is kind of a one-and-done position. You really do have to fall back instantly afterwards out in the open. Lee Schneider is there to alleviate some pressure from GODSENT, though. With his AWP, one of those 2 AWPs has already came to fruition. Meanwhile, JDM's been able to get anything done with his.
Smart play from Pronax. Throws a pop flash for Schneider. JDM had the angle to punish the fallback, but it's not going to work out. He's going to go for this aggressive peek. The Molotov is going to force him to be committed. Schneider has the angle. That's a good find from him. The Ops have been dominant on the CT side, and 9 seconds left on the clock. CLG, they have to just fall back and save these 2 AK-47s out of the tactical timeout. GODSENT stumps them.
Yeah, the woes continue. Right afterwards, there has been another shutout performance from GODSENT. Aggressive plays from Palf. Fair enough, he died afterwards, but he got the information. And then Schneider was there to pick up the pieces. So, solid round. They did manage to save both the weapons, though, so it will be another full buy from CLG. Not a fantastic one, though.
One thing we haven't seen out of CLG yet, I mentioned this about GODSENT's terrace half as well, is it's very much spread out, default, tactical, methodical. CLG haven't really picked up the pace. GODSENT tried it once or twice throughout their half. It didn't have a whole lot of success, obviously, but CLG has yet to kind of really put the pressure on early in these rounds.
Maybe trying to switch that up now with the connector play. 2 players in here. Comes the Molotov, going to be charging right behind that. It forces Palf into the corner. He's not going to be safe there. He looks to try and trade at least 1 kill before dying. That really was best case scenario for him. Unable to get it done. Here comes the pop flash. Pronax charges down. Tech9 is in his face. And that will be an M4 switching hands towards CLG. This is one of their few opportunities they've got so far on their T side. Yeah, especially now that Lekro has fallen. JDM finds him with the Galil, and he might choose to just go through Monster. They've gotten 2 kills on Sterile, 1 at B. So they've got to assume that site is open, and it's correct. 2 ops left on Twist and Schneider. And they have control of bathrooms and highway. They might not even they might decide to just save these guns. Very unlikely to retake a site with 2 ops. Yeah, still so very far away. They have a lot of ground to clear out with the 2 unwieldy AWPs in those kind of situations. So they are going to decide that they're going to hand this round over to CLG. So they're going to get their 13th, their first of this terrorist half of their offense. And now it comes that dangerous territory where they have to string together or else their economy gets reset. Now, they do have 4 members surviving, so they don't have to invest too much into the next round. Only Cutler needs to get a weapon. So that'll be 1 drop. So this is a good round for CLG to win, but they still have that tall task of the double op set up to go against. Certainly will. And it looks like both ops will be surviving, because as you said before, in this kind of situation, chasing probably not worth it, in all honesty. CLG could end up hurting themselves more so than GODSENT. So they want to keep these 4 weapons alive, and indeed they will. So 6 weapons traverse through into round 24. This is where a change of pace could actually catch GODSENT a little bit off guard. Where if you pick up the pace, especially with 2 AWPs, I'm not sure, CLG's got to know that they have 2 ops out by this point. It's been 3 or 4 rounds. So if you force those ops to rotate, like we said, they're very unwieldy, very difficult to retake bomb sites. If you can get into one quick enough and force them to be into like these small choke points that are often smoked out in Molotov, can be very, very tough to deal with. But once again, playing very passively this time. Still slow and methodical. JDM's going to walk through, lead with his AWP. He's going for this pick. He misses the shot. That's over at Toxic Barrels. Lekro gets away. All the meanwhile, Tarek's about to have a lot of attention put on him from long. Thing is, whereas JDM's missed shot doesn't really tell GODSENT a great deal, that does. Seeing Tarek pushing up, Schneider is there to pick up the kill. And therefore, it stands to good reason that B is not going to get aggressed on just yet. But look at Hayes and Fugly. They're taking the advantage. They know there's 1 to 2 members pushed out towards long, so they're already up. They can deny this rotation. They can deny this fallback pop flash over. Fugly, he's going to get 1 kill. He goes for more, gets the 2nd. Very, very smart play from CLG. Fantastic play from CLG, and exactly what they were looking for. As he said before, if they lost this round, they'd be in a spot of bother. But as it stands, the retake so far is unsuccessful. GODSENT have lost yet another player. Lekro goes down. Palf coming through bank. There's the first one. CLG need to just keep themselves buried right now. Don't peek out. Don't give this away. This is another round you should be winning. However, one of these weapons is an open. Twist has landed the headshot. This is now doable. They have a defuse kit as well in the hands of Twist and a couple flashbangs that he tossed towards the bank from CLG. And they are connecting as well. There's the Molotov. It's going to stop the defuse for a few more seconds, and it seems that CLG probably have done enough, especially now as JDM comes in. He is going to be picked off from Twist, who's looking for the next frag, but he will decide to back away anyway from the bomb. And he's going to die regardless.
Oh, that's actually pretty brutal that he drops the MVP right at the end. They have plenty of money on Schneider. He's got almost 12,000, so he can buy up. He can drop over a weapon, so it's going to be a good buy from GODSENT. But this play here from CLG, this is the play that's been missing from them for quite some time. For almost over a year until just recently. That's why all the analysts are saying they've picked up their game. It's because of those smart tactical plays that requires the game sense to do that. Understanding there's a push out towards long, you can punish that. It's hard for him to fall back, and they get immediately aggressive. It's very calculated and intelligent aggression.
Yeah, the information went both ways, really. CTs know, okay, we got ourselves a player, it's probably going to be an A play, but then instantly you do spot the two players on long, and that call came through very quickly indeed from CLG. And they reap the rewards. Here we go through into round 25. Another buy from GODSENT. A solid buy at that. CLG, their work's not done just yet. But they have already got a lot of real estate out into B, like pushing through into pit. This is a bit worrying for GODSENT. They're going to have to try and bounce back, and that's the best possible way of Pronax and Palv tagging one another and taking down GDM. That's a big kill.
Yeah, JDM, I like the play. We talked about him being one of the star players, and he's the guy, this is 2 rounds in a row now where he said, I'll lead the way, I'll find the opening kill. Fugly's going to fall here as well, but that time, he gets a little overextended, and GODSENT finds a way to isolate him from his teammates, and it's an easy pickoff with a pop flash. Although Tarek almost able to catch one out with a nade in his hand, and he is eventually going to fall to that. Twist gets that opening kill, 5 on 2 now, and GODSENT has lost just 1, but this is a good response after losing 2 rounds in a row.
Can CLG burst onto the site before the cavalry arrives from GODSENT? The answer is no. They're going to be put down right where they stand. Good, solid round from the CTs. CLG... well, actually, their economy is not great. Fugly only won $1,500.
Yeah, this is tough. This is going to be a tough situation. They decided to just go for the save. They're almost at map point, so don't need to invest too much. You've still got a few rounds to play with, even though GODSENT has been inching their way back into this throughout this whole half. So only armor invested on Tarek. They have a smoke and 2 flashbangs to at least give themselves a chance to find some kind of magic in this round, and this is that fast pace. Now they've stepped it up. Pop flash over to force Pronax back. He's initially blind. He's the only one here. His 2 teammates are pushed out towards long. He's got to hold this smoke. Jumping right through it with these Tech Knights. Pronax gets 2. That's a huge play. Out of bullets, though. Hayes does find him. But this buys time for rotation, as well as for players from GODSENT to start circling around. Twist is going to be the next one up with the AK-47. He gets hidden inside a smoke. He loses track of his opponent. Somehow he's making his way out of this until just now, but there's Palv. Here to clean things up. Here to stabilize that defense. They lose 2, but it could have been a much scarier situation.
Yeah, Pronax holding off the charge for as long as he did actually allowed somebody to get round the back of the bathroom, which I believe was Twist. And that's where things went horribly wrong for CLG. So a great individual effort from Pronax. Yes, he ended up dying, but his job was certainly done. That being said, though, as a result of the previous save, here comes another buy from CLG. And they have looked a bit more potent in these last few rounds. JDM going to be holding the balloons where Schneider was looking to jump up onto. Pronax is going to be the first to fall, but there is Schneider as well. They weren't expecting him to be holding that angle with the double peak. He will fall though, so this is a great passage of play from CLG, although Tarek is extremely low.
Great recovery by Tarek to find that kill onto Schneider, and then JDM has the angle towards Stairwell and forces Twist back. Twist is very lucky. Look at JDM, he's got a good sense of where the next piece of aggression is going to come from. Just holding this, helping to cover his teammates. But Palv not overextending, not taking any fights that he doesn't need at the moment. And CLG have just started to get passive, looking for any information gathering plays from GODSENT. They're going to try and let them make the mistake. They have over a minute with the man advantage. 2 smokes left and 1 flashbang on the CLG side for whatever they want to do. They have control of bathrooms essentially, and they have control of the underpass and stairwell, so they can rotate pretty freely between these bomb sites.
Time to play with, time to kill as far as GODSENT are concerned. CLG once again flirting with the idea of going down through connector, but still GODSENT holding position. You can see that Palv isn't entirely sure where he should be covering. Instead he decides to go over towards the B side. Can play the sweeper role from here though. And now the execution is coming into A, so very unfortunate timing as far as GODSENT are concerned, but it is Twist. He is one of the players to watch out for on GODSENT. and it's predominantly going to be a long play, so that could be walking right into his crosshairs. It's going to be Tarek who takes point with the very low HP. The bomb has been dropped. Door frag comes in, 15 seconds left as well. It's looking great for GODSENT. It's gone horribly wrong for CLG. Fair enough, they get the first kill back, but with only 10 seconds, they have to force their way through onto the site, and that's going to allow Palf to pounce from Truck. Bomb gets faked, 3 seconds to go. JDM can't get it done, and CLG now only have a round advantage. GODSENT have brought this back from a 12-3 deficit.
Yeah, a lot of time on that clock with that man advantage to run it down to the last 20 seconds. They execute with 17 left. Not a bad idea to send Tarek in first, the low HP player. Sacrifice him so you find out the intel that has to be traded. But a good hold from GODSENT, just playing right behind those boxes in the bomb site. 13-14, and they're playing against pistols with no armor. Fugly has some, but that's it. Not too much for CLG to work with here. So a good chance for GODSENT to even things up, and that's a nice start. Schneider finds another. We've seen both operas be very effective out towards long. Neither team on their terror sides have been able to gain control and kind of have any success, you know, starting from that long a passageway.
Well, so far, statistically speaking, there's only been 5 rounds won by the T side out of 28. Pretty brutal. Twist with a double frag. Outside a bathroom, leaves Cutler in connector, and, well, he just gets dispatched comfortably from Schneider. How things have changed. Tarek, 20 frags at the start of this half, now has 25.
This will be very interesting. This is going to require a lot of mental fortitude on the side of CLG, because you think just yesterday against Na'Vi, they know they have a problem closing out matches. Just yesterday against Na'Vi, they had a 6-round lead up towards 14 or 15 rounds, and they weren't able to make it work. And now you got to imagine in the back of their heads, maybe not thinking it completely, but in the back of their heads, there is that little bit of a doubt of, oh no, not again. Why can't we close this out? Aggression again from GODSENT. They push up 3 towards stairs, and only 1 sticks around. It's going to be Schneider, and again, he finds the opening kill. CLG has not been able to force back the offer of a GODSENT.
Other problem for CLG is they really haven't got that many Avenge frags. We've seen time and time again that GODSENT get a kill, manage to relocate back to the site, and CLG can't do anything about it.
It's really, really difficult to have that kind of a revenge onto an AW Opera. That's why they're so effective, especially on this map. It's very easy to fall back and get into cover and find a new angle to search for. It's very, very difficult to punish it. That's why a lot of utility has got to be expended to force back that early pressure. But at this stage in the game, with CLG buying just because they need to get the rounds, they can't let GODSENT to get 15. They just don't have the utility to spend on that.
Therein lays the issue for CLG now, but they do have 2 mollies, a couple of smokes. But is that going to be enough to get them through onto the site? JDM is trying, hopefully, to just tap through the smoke and see if he can get some work done, but it's actually going to be Twist who's coming around from the back, who is the lurker, getting himself that kill. 40 seconds left to play with, and he must have known the bomb dropped as well, so that's key information that is being held on to. 35 seconds, bomb's been picked up from CLG, but you can see that GODSENT having none of this. They're keeping 3 players over on the B side, so CLG going to be walking into a potential firing squad.
Yeah, it's just another good play. They know they've destroyed them over at the A site time and time again, but there's 2 good opening kills, Cutler and JDM, but Schneider is still here. There's that 3rd member we talked about. He gets his 1 kill and relocates. Bomb is going to be planted, but it's going to be a tall task to hold this retake off.
Especially considering that one of these 2 players is very close to death. That's going to be Cutler on 12 health. Fugly is full. Twist did see for just a millisecond a player jumping up before the flash landed in his face, so the snowstorm descended on him. Schneider comes in though with a pistol, and it looks like CLG are going to fall by the wayside once again. This is going to be so devastating if they end up conceding this map after a 12-3 half.
Yes, it really is, and it bodes very, very poorly going into the next map. This was GODSENT's pick. The next map will be CLG's, but this round, CLG needs to force overtime. All AK-47s, JDM's not on the AWP. This time they have plenty of nades to work with. They've got 7 flashbangs, they got 5 smokes, 2 Molotovs, so at least they should be able, they need to find a way to neutralize Schneider early on. They cannot let him get another opening kill.
This, of course, the choice of GODSENT. Overpass. Next map will be Cash, and they'll be desperate to take the 1-0 lead. It was looking almost impossible for them at the start of this half, but now anything is possible. Molotov's thrown in. That's going to force away the T's who are looking to push through that.
And Pronax actually decides not to use a smoke to extinguish that Molotov. Takes about 60 points of damage instead. But look at this positioning from Palf. Again, he gets right outside short sewers, finds the opening kill. Tarek's able to trade him off. That's important, and now the B hit is on through Monster, streams 3 members of CLG. Lekro's the only one here for now. Behind this wall of smokes, he needs to keep control of water.
That's the key. play, but you can see the Molotov forces him away from that one, spraying through the smoke. One frag comes down for him. The bomb has been dropped, or planted, pardon me. So CLG now effectively saying, come at us, bros. I'll hide behind the pillar. Will Hayes. Tarek is still alive, but only just by the skin of his teeth. He's down to 3 HP, and he will be finished off now. It's not looking good for CLG once again, but 2 kills come back-to-back for them. Are they going to bring us back to the overtime? Twist is there to say no, and now it's all on Cutler. The bomb is planted for him. He just has to peek around the corner. But GODSENT realize this. They go for the flashbangs. Here comes Cutler. Can he have the hero play? He's been tagged up so heavily from Twist. He has the defuse kit. Twist is going to stick onto the site. Cutler comes through. It's not that side, Cutler. It's the other one. And he just about gets the kill and takes us to overtime.
That is incredible. Cutler, another big 1-on-2 for him. Somehow manages it because he was off on the initial spray, like you said, and transfers it over just in time. That retake looks so good for GODSENT initially, but Hayes and Cutler bring it back. Big first kill. Cutler takes a lot of damage, but look at this. He's so far off initially and just finally gets it right at the last moment.
I bet that butthole was puckered up from Cutler there. He's like, boys, where's the bomb? Where's the bomb?
That, yeah, his teammates especially. That had to have been such a good feeling of relief, but either way, what's not going to be relief is the fact that they just squandered a big first half lead. Now they're in overtime. The one benefit for it from CLG, for both teams on their T sides in this overtime actually, because they both suffered from very low money situations, very low money buys. Starting with 10K, they're going to have at least 2 rounds that they'll have whatever they need to make this work.
So both teams needing to reset now. Regulation time was for naught. We start from a fresh slate.
I like this. This is, JDM was doing this earlier on. Oh, there's a nice shot from Cutler. Molotov comes out from Hayes. It's not needed. He is blinded. Now they have to find Pauf. He's staring at the ramp, waiting for a headshot angle. Smokes are coming out from CLG. There's a Molotov to force him back. That position is going to be clear, but the rotation is on now. It's going to be all on this 5-on-4, and there's Pronax with the opening kill. Gets aggressive behind the bomb site, being very sneaky behind this smoke.
Yeah, very sneaky indeed. And they probably won't realize this, but he's actually coming around the back of the pillar. JDM, so patient, making sure that angle was covered for his teammates. If he wasn't looking there, it could have been an absolute train wreck for CLG. But as it stands, JDM stands tall again. Second kill for him, looking good for CLG. But there's Schneider again, just when you think CLG have the round wrapped up nicely. Schneider rips off the wrapping. And now, Twist is looking to push in. They don't have any flashes or smokes now. It's going to be a bit of an issue. It's going to have to be raw on frags. Cutler's gone down next. This is where a smoke is so useful. To extinguish that molly or just to fend off shorts. They're going to have to play the waiting game now, GODSENT. CLG have played this very smart. In goes Schneider. 1 HP remaining. Can Twist hold this off for his teammate? No, he can't. But it was so close.
What a play from Schneider. What a ballsy play. 2 things in that round. You see the strength of JDM as an operator. Once that hit comes in, once the bomb site is taken, he's just holding the angle on the right side of the site, on the side of that pillar. This is incredible timing, by the way. 1 HP. Twist, if he hits that first shot, they might actually win that round.
Yeah.
But either way, JDM's strength was very, very good, very apparent there. Just holding the right side of that pillar for his team. Gets 2 kills to help defend against the retake. But the other one, we didn't see this on camera, but on the mini-map, Tarek has a huge impact on winning that round for CLG. He's lurking over towards the A bomb site. Once they take B, he gets very, very aggressive and actually holds, I believe it was Schneider and Twist over at that A bomb site as long as he possibly can. He does eventually fall in the end, no kills, but the fact that he held them for so long prevents that rotate and really isolates Lectra, who I believe was the last remaining player to defend that B site, allows for CLG to bide plenty of time to be able to get that kill.
And remember that both of these teams' T performances were really lackluster, so every single overtime round on T side is worth so much, so valuable. CLG starting in such a way is going to mount that pressure on GODSENT. They did show great tenacity, though, to come back from that first half performance. And that is a big victory for CLG. Plenty more required, though. 19, the magic number. Fugly switches to his Molotov at the worst possible second, and Schneider will punish him. A good opening start for GODSENT again.
This time, though, CLG's got control of long. They do lose Fugly, which is you don't want to lose control of that, because actually Schneider's continuing to push up, and he's going to find Cutler as well. Not expecting that. Schneider actually pushed through smoke to get that. Meanwhile, CLG has complete control long. It's all they have left. So Tarek, JDM, Hayes are going to push up. There is a smoke there at the moment, which is allowing them to get close up to the bomb site without being spotted. And even if they take out Pauf, they have Twist and they have Pronax, who are going to be at an odd angle for them to clear out. They're going to be entirely surrounded once they come into this bomb site because 4 members of GODSENT are here.
Yeah, very one-dimensional play as a result of losing those 2 previous players. But JDM is there with the AWP. That's going to keep things interesting. He couldn't afford to shoot there as his teammates were in the way. Would do significant damage to either of them. And in doing so now, they're going to funnel out into the embracing arms of Twist. Double spray down for him. And GODSENT instantly retaliate with a round of their own.
Schneider's going to be back on the AWP, so this is going to be big. Twist also has 33 kills in this match, so he's been having a fantastic impact. A lot of it has been said about him as a rising star of the Counter-Strike scene, so a good opening here against CLG. JDM with the op of his own on the T side. Hasn't been too effective initially to open up rounds, but like we've said, like we've seen, he's very, very good once the bomb sites are taken and the execute is on. More aggression out of GODSENT, again holding the underpass, and this time it looks like they want to get a little bit aggressive with this one. Pronax starting to push up with the op of Schneider covering him.
Well, that's information because they heard an AWP shot and they saw the M4 bullets landing on the wall next to him. So that's at least 2 players they know of that are in connector.
Pronax is pushed up so incredibly far. Fugly might not be prepared for this, and he's not. That's a good find from Pronax, and now he can just kind of shy away, fall back again, control of underpass. Fugly's fallen there twice. This is essentially the same round as last time. Tarek, JDM, and Haste all going to be out towards long, and Twist finds Tarek through the smoke.
Good night. Wrecked. That is going to hurt. And again, GODSENT bouncing back with a vengeance. We saw this almost is a carbon copy of the last round. Now, whereas with the last 3 players, CLG went up long in the second round of overtime. This time it looks as though they want to be aggressing onto the B site, which is once again where they will meet Lekro. He has been boosted up as well, so 2 players there. And more are going to be funneling their way through. As we see Twist now coming through connector. So this is going to have to be a clean take from CLG. They have to burst their way onto this site with frags, and they've done just that. Hayes with 2 out of nowhere. GODSENT will be reeling after that, but 2 players are low. JDM as well. Is this doable from CLG? This would be a ridiculous round for them to pick up. GODSENT, are they going to slip? It's not looking good now for CLG all of a sudden, but it is JDM with the AWP. He's been having a solid matchup so far. Misses his first opportunity, gives his position away. Molly thrown off onto the pillar, and that does drop both the CTs, but he misses too many shots and he will get punished. GODSENT just about hold on.
Almost incredible. Again, JDM, great job covering, but just can't win it out. The op of Schneider has been so effective in this matchup. It's actually incredible that he hasn't been able to get shut down, so very good performance from him. 2 rounds in overtime for the CT side. Like you said, that's not too much different from regulation, where it was defensively dominated. And now CLG's going to have to switch over and remember exactly what they were facing up against GODSENT. It's been a while since they had to deal with that.
That's a good point, yeah. That's been a considerable amount of time, so are they going to remember how GODSENT were aggressing onto them?
It's also important to note that while you get that 10,000 start money, and it's great for your economy to start with, for a player like JDM, who's so reliant on the AWP, if they lose this first round, it could be tough for him to get an AWP moving forward into overtime. Even if they sustain losses and win, if he's not able to retain that op moving forward into the second round, it can be very detrimental for the money situation for the CTs, even in overtime when you start with so much.
Look at GODSENT as well, Moses, full AKs. Are they going to be setting up for a really brisk round and just charging through? It looked like originally they're thinking about this, but we have seen this boost before from JDM. And again, it has picked themselves up a kill. Palf is right out onto the site, though, so a fast B take. No one checks the corner. Tarek's going to strike. Oh, but he misses everything. And that could be the determining factor here for GODSENT, who already lead in overtime. CLG should not have lost this round. Tarek, you're expecting him to pick up at least 1 kill from that confrontation, but here comes Cutler. Maybe it's his time to shine. JDM is low. They do have 3 incendiaries to use, one of which was just thrown out from Cutler on towards short, but he gets picked off, and now Fugly from behind has to try and make some magic happen. The smoke out, Molotov actually, pardon me, onto short. Meanwhile, his teammate is being battered down. JDM somehow survives that one. And the fire is from both sides. Smoke down onto the site. The spray down's not in, and that could be the crucial kill here in this 2v2. Pronax is going to try and spam through. And it's going to be Schneider who picks it up at the end.
That's a brutal change of pace for GODSENT. That's what we were talking about in the first half, for them to switch something up, and this time it catches CLG off guard. Tarek here, he could get this easy kill. You see him consider it, but he wants more. He goes for the double and just misses the shot. Palf changes his direction just at the last moment, and Tarek can't control it. And he was the hot hand in the first half. He was essentially unstoppable at that B bomb site, and GODSENT goes right at him in the first round of overtime. They get a round for it. 18-16, CLG has to win these next 2 if they want to force double overtime.
That's so true as well, Moses. He was the guy. 20 bomb dropped. Predominantly from just holding off this aggression, often in 1v3, 1v4 scenarios. You really expected him to do more from that position, but he's just got to dust that down now. Focus on the here and now. JDM misses a shot. Was flashbanged, in fairness.
That's something that GODSENT has been much stronger. Fugly gets caught on the boss. He's almost caught in the open, but it's one thing that GODSENT was much better at on their terror side, is at least forcing JDM back initially. JDM was still effective. It still got some opening kills, but you can see there those flashbangs that GODSENT is throwing out is forcing him to get passive very early on. And also with losing that first round of overtime, look what it's done to the money. There's no smokes left. There's only one Molotov on Fugly. CLG has over a minute and they have nothing to block off choke points. These flashbangs are going to have to be so effective.
GODSENT still have 2 Molotovs and a smoke to play with. One smoke just bloomed a couple seconds prior onto the site. As you can see from JDM's perspective, that locks off the bathroom side. One landed on truck as well. They haven't pulled the trigger onto this one, so they're trying to play the mind games here for CLG. And then with that Molotov landing, that pretty much gives away the strat. But again, GODSENT had this issue before in previous rounds. They threw utility, didn't back it up. But they're going to look to sneak on. Twist goes in first, but he's going to get spotted from JDM, who misses the shot. And again, that could prove to just open the floodgates for GODSENT. There's only 18 seconds left. Fugly's on the site. What can he get done? The answer is absolutely nothing, as he's also battered down from the Tech-9. Schneider is there. The bomb has dropped in a precarious position, but Cutler can't do anything. And he's next on the chopping block. Bomb's going to get planted as Palf watches the bank push. I think he just caught a glimpse of the play there as he switched his weapons, and now he realizes the last remaining CT is in bank, and that's going to be GODSENT making the comeback a reality from 12-3 behind to winning in overtime.
Tarek had 20 kills at the beginning of the second half, and he ends with 26. He went very quiet in that second half. It was all GODSENT. Once they switch sides, you can just see how crushing that is.
That's got to be absolutely demoralizing.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the GODSENT side. Let's talk about the players who won this match for GODSENT. Schneider, Twist had a big game, but it was all Schneider. The impact kills of that AWP, whether they're opening kills, mid-round kills, such an impressive performance from him coming in. Some of those reads as well in the defense for GODSENT. Wherever it came from, you got to imagine it's Pronax, but whoever made those calls, so effective.
And he also got retake kills with the AWP actually pushing back onto B. We saw time and time again in 2v3s, 2v4s. Somehow GODSENT pulled it off, and CLG, I mean, they've just got to try and somehow dust themselves off and ignore what just happened, if that's even possible. Yeah,
got to forget that one quickly in this short break that we're going to have, and then come back into cash. But we are going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, it will be map 2. CLG is facing elimination, so stay tuned, and we'll be back.